But artists put out music, if it's not a hit, then I go, you should have kept that for you.
Piracy decreased the value of music as a product, but streaming decreased the value of music as an experience.
The way the music industry and consumption is like doesn't even make sense.
It changes it. Remember albums felt like a movie was coming out?
DIY.
DIYs over the last week, 50 Cent sat down with Ebro, Laura Stiles, and Rosenberg on the Hot 97. I didn't know they were still doing this show. I'm not going to hold you. I don't know if this is like a rare thing. I didn't know this show was still going. No disrespect. But he sat down, and as he does, like I think 50 gives some of the best interviews. He knows what is expected of an artist when they come down there and sit down. He talked about a lot of things. His Las Vegas residency. He talked leaving a little bit of Drake versus Kendrick. His disappointment in J. Cole, which I didn't want to cover because I feel like it's been looking real like anti-J. Cole-ish, and I'm not. I'm a fan of what J. Cole do, but I left it alone. He talks about Diddy. We're not going to talk about that one at all. His ventures into TV, but he specifically talks about why he got tired of putting out music and what he feels like is the biggest issue with artists today.
That was a big moment that y'all shared. You, Jay, and Puff on that record was a big deal.
Definitely was cool. And then when you play it back now, it's like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yo.
Is that your only collaboration?
Nah, but we did, the only one that I'm on with him.
Right.
Like, we did a few.
That you wrote?
Yeah. Like, I can't wrote. It was a point where he couldn't hear the hit anymore. Like, sometimes your ear is just not in that.
Right. Sound change.
Right. So you're going, he would write the joint, and we got it. And he'll be like, yo, yeah, come on, just come back so we could work on it. So he mean do it again, like, we do some more. And he thought the more we did it, the better it would get.
I don't know why. So in this part right here, 50 Cent is talking about the work he did with Diddy as an artist. And he was talking about the collaboration they did together, and he was also talking about the differences between his approach to creating versus a Diddy's approach to creating music. And he's saying that he was more so someone that believed in the lightning in a bottle theory of when we record it there, that's going to be the best take. No matter how many more times we record this, it's not going to get any better. It is what it is. And Diddy seems to be, of course, you remember the show The Band.
Y'all got to walk uptown to the Bronx and get breast milk from a Cambodian immigrant. I only drink the finest breast milks.
Very much a perfectionist that wants to get as many takes as needed, as many producers, as many engineers in the room as he needs. With that said, I kind of don't know why I thought 50 Cent might be the same perfectionist, especially when he used to talk about how many songs he would make, or how many songs he made in preparation of creating Get Rich or Die Trying. But to hear this is kind of surprising, but I'll let him cook. And you're like, no,
it's not getting better.
Right.
A lot of the simplicity is the key to a lot of the biggest hit records or the lines. Fabio, boy, what the fuck is you doing with me? When you're in a pack like that, you got some guys that just came with you, and you say GDK. What the fuck is you doing with me? That's one of the hardest lines that I heard from Fabio. It stood out. It was a standout point for him in that record. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Moneybag Yo, he's like, I couldn't fuck with these dog hoes. Let's the bitch bring a buddy, right? So he said it makes it better now that it's a different experience now. This there, but it just came out. These are not super.
Right, you don't have to work to get those lines.
It just comes out.
It's either there or it's not.
You know what I'm saying?
It's lifestyle. It's simple. It's catchy.
Yes, and it makes a hit record to me. Like, you know what I mean? Now, we sitting there and we dissecting it, pulling it apart, do it again, do this part. It starts to get like, it was better when we just did it the first time. Like, the way you did it, the first thought is usually better. And then this is why I would throw away a lot of music. I would just keep making music, keep making it, and go, nah, this one's better. This better. Put this to the side, and just put that out. The material that was going out, it was up to standard. It just wasn't.
So you got a lot of material that we haven't heard that you gonna let us hear, that you gonna put out.
No, I'm not letting it hear. But it's in there.
So you gonna give me the hard.
50 Cent, if in the event that something happens to me and I'm no longer here, don't expect me to have 8,000 songs in the bank that's finna get released like Prince. Especially with the style that 50 Cent has had for the majority of his career that he found success in. His approach has always seemed to be leaning on every song is a hit song. Even if it's not necessarily for like certain radio, for rhythmic radio or for, pop radio, he's always put an emphasis on making everything just as catchy. Even when I think about slower songs that you knew weren't going to necessarily be radio singles on Get Rich or Die Trying, like I've been patiently waiting for a track to explode on. It still has the approach of somebody who was looking to make every single style that he approaches a hit song, and whatever way he defines that.
Drives and we going
never. So you know what I'm doing? Look at this. Look, I always put the things aside. When artists put out music, if it's not a hit, then I go, you should have kept that in your iPod. You should have kept that for you to listen to so you can remember what you was thinking and how you felt instead of releasing it if it's not a hit at the moment. Like, you know what I mean? That we're in different time, different climate.
I couldn't tell if that point where he was saying it right now, where he was basically saying that he would give the advice to artists that if it's not a hit song, he said specifically, you need to keep that kind of to yourself. You need to keep that on your iPod. I assume him saying iPod means that this is the advice he would give artists at that point in time, but it seems like he still kind of holds on to that, and he's going to explain why he does. I look at this and I'm like, it depends on what game you're playing. And I don't think that every artist knows what game they're playing. There's a lot of artists playing multiple positions. Say this is basketball. They're playing multiple positions because they don't know the position that they're best at or that their art would be best suited for. And I think what happens is a lot of them teeter the fence between, well, I do want to make a hit song, but what is a hit song these days? What is a hit song compared to me? What is a hit song for an artist my age? What is a hit song from an artist from my region? What is a hit song for somebody that wants to be signed? What is a hit song for somebody that just wants to find success online? Like, there's so many different segments now that you could approach, and it has to be frustrating if you don't know what role or what position you want to play. But it seems like he's always made it very clear that he came here to conduct music as a business on the highest level. And because of that, he put an enormous amount of pressure on himself to say, I don't care how many songs I create, I'm putting the pressure that it doesn't go into the public if it's not a hit song. And I feel like there's artists out here who can't conduct themselves that way, or they'll be forgotten about. I think there's certain types of art that because of how simplistic it is, they have to be strategic about how much they release, right? Because it's easy to get overkill. Like, I think about somebody like DaBaby, who people complain about him rapping the same on a lot of different beats. He benefits from being strategic about his releases. But somebody else, like a Black Thought, or somebody like a Kendrick, those spaces they take between the releases and the art that they present themselves with afterwards benefits from that spacing, benefits from them working on a product that is the best thing possible. I don't know, it's many different ways to go in that direction with it. It's just some things that's coming to mind right now.
Maybe I'll put it in some of the
shows.
Yes.
That's your thing.
And they don't have no excuses to just put it in there because it matches the tones of what's going on. And then it's a way that
you
can share it.
You got tired of putting out music, right? Just the way the music industry and consumption is like doesn't even make sense.
It changes it. Like the attention span is so low. Remember albums felt like a movie was coming out?
Well, you're the ultimate example.
Yeah,
that you versus Kanye week
that was crazy.
One of the craziest moments in modern hip-hop history.
Yeah, and it was like, it did make the largest sales week for hip-hop culture at that time. So because we had people, the competitive side of it made his fans buying 2 and 3 copies at one time.
This shows you. Part of the reason 50 Cent has such enormous self-confidence is the way that he chooses to frame things. And I think there's a lot of people who are in positions of power, no pun intended, who have the same ability to frame things. There's a lot of people I talk to, especially when we have these hip-hop conversations, that thought that album losing out to Kanye West head-to-head was the beginning of the end for 50. He talks about it in his book about how not having to do with how that went. That was actually a success on both ends, right? That's a success for hip-hop in general, or mainstream rap, because look at the amount of fandom. Look at the excitement around buying a physical CD versus buying 1 or 2 so that they can help their favorite artists win the contest between Kanye and 50. They were both underneath Universal Music. It's interesting. A lot has shifted since then. But I like the way that he reframes this into, I know I didn't lose. We both had a win for rap. It's big sales day. I think that's an important trait to have. Whether you agree with that, it may be different. I don't know. But I think that's a good way of rewording that.
So it wasn't about just the music. It was about wanting him to win.
Yeah.
And then it turned into
But it's also, you guys were working hard. I think you worked very hard, right? Like I'm seeing Tyler, the Creator's roll out this week. I don't know if you paid attention to it, but him similar, where all the videos are done.
I think it's the highest. His joint is the highest thing right now, right?
Yeah. I think he sold up to 200,000 copies in the first week. And he still had, I think, 2 or 3 days that weren't a part of the reporting because he had 3 days he's missing out that he could have had more sales reported on because he chose to release on a Monday. And still put in, I think, 212,000 the first week. However they're calculating that. That is insane. So shout out to Tyler. What's good with you DIYers, YouTube fam, and of course, independent artists alike? I got some really exciting news that I want to share with you. As many of you know, over the last 10 months, I have been doing some deep diving into going direct to consumer as an independent artist. And after reacting to so many different stories and having my own experiences, I've learned a lot over these last 10 months, and I would love to share it with you on my new Patreon for Curtis King TV. By joining the DIY community, you'll get early access to exclusive videos from this YouTube, free downloads, live Zoom calls, and even private Discord chats with me and the DIY community. Plus, independent artists, there are resources, tutorials, and so much more to help you level up your independent music career. So whether you're here for my content, for my music, or just to level up your own music career, I assure you this Patreon is for you. Head over to patreon.com/Curtis King TV and let's continue to show them what is possible independently. It's no mystery why it does so well beyond the music, the rollout. And we talked about this in a video last week. The rollout is part of the reason why it is a main topic of conversation and why you got people like, I heard Joe Budden saying that he feels like Tyler might have replaced J. Cole in the top 3. Hey, that's up to you how you want to look at it. But Tyler talking this shit and he got numbers to back it up if that's how you judge these things, of course. But I'll let him cook.
Oh, yeah. But the rollout was movie-esque and, you know, all the materials and he's doing the work of actually doing it. It's not leaving it up
it's
to
having a plan, like when you're planning it.
Right.
Rather than just coming out. Like a lot of, for established artists, you can't just release a project and just wait for it to work. You could do that in the beginning. It's organically happening, and it'll just grow. You see the streams go up and things happen. And what happens is, because that's the process, even the record company is conditioned to catch up to the record, like see it moving and start supporting it because they see that instead of knowing exactly what. Like right now, Drake has to know exactly what he wants to go up and support it. I wouldn't even look at the label to do it. I put the additional support behind it because it's how much is he getting per show. Support the record at radio is not a difficult thing for him. You know,
especially for him. If most everything ends up getting.
That's what I'm saying. I would do it.
Right.
When I know that this is the record I need to, and right now, I would do it myself.
That's right. You hear that?
DIY. Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I imagine that if we had an opportunity to experience 50 Cent as a new artist today, the way that he approaches business, the way that he is independent in terms of his decision-making, I think with the things that he understands about who to align yourself with, who to not have in your circle, when to close the size of your circle, these are things that you can read about in his book. Even his approach to how he conducts himself in business with people that he knows are like sharks, right? The way that he strategically places himself in these rooms. I would be very interested to see how much of a success, I'm not saying it'd be the same as what it is, because I think there's too many variables, but how much of a success he would be independent. I think he would do really, really well these days. Not to mention, because his approach is, I want to be competitive with the music in terms of competitive with those who are signed to major labels, but I also want to make sure that I have the independent grind, the mixtape grind of any independent artist, any underground artist out there. I'm going to do all of those things and be better at them. I'm going to also be someone who utilizes, remember somebody reached out to him at one point in time that knew how to develop websites because his website, he said at the time it sucked. He hired this person and they were the one that went on to help him redesign thisis50.com. He points to a lot of that success being because he spent time with his art. There is no, if he made a throwaway song, that's not a loosey. That's not going out into the public. He's very, very careful about what he puts out there to represent his business. And I just think it's another approach. This inspires some other thoughts before we kind of finalize this here. So I shared this in another video, but I want to go ahead and break this down even more. Rob Abelo says, piracy decreased the value of music as a product. but streaming decreased the value of music as an experience. What they're talking about with Tyler, the creator, Tyler has created an experience this entire week with every single drop that helps you get closer to what the bigger picture or what the story is. He pulls you in with mystery. It pulls you in with crazy contrast visually of what you're seeing. Some things are unsettling with the mask and so many different pieces of imagery that are just pulling you in one minute video at a time. He's showing, like, that whole rollout was someone just said it in here, surgical. And I feel like that is what people are going to be expected of if they want their music to actually sell. If you just throwing shit out there, will there be some exceptions to the rule? Absolutely. I think about somebody like Ralphie the Plug, right, who is the brother of the late Draco the Ruler. He's doing really, really well independently. And part of the success that he has been his output, in that he is just delivering consistently on a product that people want from him, right? He's feeding the monster, for lack of a better term. And that finds success for him. But he also is making sure that he has music videos that are matching the output of those songs. So he's releasing music videos all the damn time. But those, for somebody else, is the experience that they want. And that's enough for them to go buy whatever he has going on. I also think that when you are creating music, using that advice from 50, and you're trying to create an experience, I think it allows you to be remembered in a way like this. On the day that I'm actually doing this live stream, Stank On Ya by Outkast, classic album, was dropped 24 years ago. And the reason why these albums get celebrated the way they do is because of the amount of work that went into the creativity, the way that they were, sometimes not even how they were received in the moment, but how they aged and how people came to understand Outkast from a different direction. I know I had to go backwards with Outkast after listening to this one. This is the album that made me a fan, because at that age, 2000, I'm just coming out of middle school and about to start my journey off into high school. And I didn't know a whole lot about Outkast, especially being on the West Coast. This is like pre the internet that we know today. And I heard Rosa Parks on like Rap City or one of them shows late night, I think, on BET. That put me on. And I heard this album and I said, oh shit. That is how music is supposed to sound when you take your time with it. And I think we're getting back there. I think the expectations are getting back there. I think there's a lot of people out here right now, a lot of artists that instead of sitting around and trying to figure out, man, how can I finesse the system? How can I get on the good side of playlisters? How can I figure out some kind of a hack to find success? I'm just going to put all the energy that I have, not in just the music, but also into the planning of how I roll it out, into the art of the actual rollout, the videos themselves, the design of the music. There's nothing more discouraging than there's nothing worse than hearing an amazing body of music with shitty artwork. The artwork doesn't get better. If anything, it makes me scratch my head and question, why the hell is this so shitty? Nothing worse than seeing that. There's nothing worse than having a song that is amazing, up and down. It's a hit song. It's undeniable no matter what walk of life you have, and then having a mediocre video. Drake knows a whole lot about those. With that said, though, I think the pressure is on, but I think that at the same time, independent artists shouldn't be scared of that pressure. We now have devices, cameras at our disposal. It's not going to cost $20,000 to make the video that you need. Mr. Shy Guy said, Shade, have you seen the video for Best I Ever Had? There's a point in time where he got it together. He got better. He got some better directors. There's a time where that man could not pull together a quality music video to save it. Have you seen The Best I Ever Had? Directed by Kanye. It felt like sabotage. I'm not gonna lie to you. Have you seen that video? It was like 4 videos in a row. I was like, I don't know if he gonna make it. He figured it out. But let's be honest. Let's be honest. Ain't shade, it's just calling it how it is. It was 240p. I wouldn't go that far now. But I do feel like there are artists out here who have varying skill sets. They're visionaries. I think about a Joyner Lucas. Joyner Lucas was making these crazy music videos before he was signed because he had a vision of what that art should look like, because it's all art and these are artists. So I think in this current climate, a lot of artists are seeing like, wait a minute, I can compete? I can compete with the very devices I have right now, including my iPhone? including the platform that I have right now, well, let's go. So, those are my thoughts, though. DIYers, you let me know what you think. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.